Hello and welcome to the 5th week of Season 20, Season of Defiance, starting on March 28th, 2023. So for week 5, let's have a look at our legacy rotations, starting with the Forsaken expansion.
Ready if you are. Let's see what's out there.
The Dreaming City this week is at a weak curse level, which means Petravenge can be found in the Strand and has the Broken Courier mission for the next week. The Blind Well features Scorn enemies and the Plagues, Sicarus and Veracus. The Ascendant challenge this week will be the Agonon's Abyss, which can be located over in the Bay of Drowned Wishes Lost sector on the Dreaming City. Next up, the Shadowkeep expansion. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is Beyond. The Trove Guardian is located in Archer's Line, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare of Jax, Claws of Zevra Wrath, at the Hellmouth. And the Nightmare hunts this week will be Crota, Despair, Fogoth, Fear, and Ghoul, Rage. For our Beyond Light expansion, on Europa this week, Credix the Dark Priestess will be the Empire Hunt, Eventide Ruins will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Survival. For the 30th anniversary expansion, we have the loot rotation for Dares of Eternity, which will be on week 1's rotation with the Scatterhorn armor set and the Wild Hunt armor set being available. The weapons available this week will be the Arc Lightweight Frame Bow Arsenic Bite 4B, the Arc Adaptive Frame Heavy Grenade Launcher Blast Batu, the Solar Precision Frame Linear Fusion Rifle Corsair's Wrath, the Void Wave Frame Energy Grenade Launcher Deafening Whisper, the Kinetic Adaptive Frame Hand Cannon Dire Promise, the Kinetic Precision Frame Sidearm Enigma's Draw, the Kinetic Lightweight Frame Submachine Gun Escape Velocity, the Arc Adaptive Frame Pulse Rifle Giant 7 Rifle, the Kinetic Precision Frame Submachine Gun Friction Fire, the Void Precision Frame Scout Rifle Royal Chase, the Kinetic Aggressive Frame Hand Cannon True Prophecy, and the Solar Adaptive Frame Fusion Rifle Timeline's Vertex. For the Witch Queen expansion, the Witch Queen weekly story mission is the Cunning, where the modifiers will be Scorched Earth, with Barrier and Unstoppable champions. The Wellspring activity has been updated to include a featured Throne World weapon, Veritas armor, and a weapon pattern as its rewards. For the Lightfall expansion, the weekly mission is Desperate Measures, the Partition mission will be Backdoor, with Barrier and Overload champions, Void Threat, Void and Solar Shields, weekly Elemental Surge and Strand Surge, and the Vex incursion this week will be the Zephyr's Concourse. In addition, the weekly Lightfall reset also refreshes the Pinnacle drops for the Node Override Avalon exotic mission on the EDZ. Raids and Dungeons. The King's Fall Raid challenge this week is the 3rd encounter, Golgoroth, called Gaze Amaze. The Gaze holder must stand in the pool of unclaimed light when swapping the gaze. The Vault of Glass challenge this week is the 4th encounter, Gatekeeper, called Strangers in Time. Players must defeat the Praetorians and Wyverns at the same time. The Deepstone Crypt challenge this week is the 4th encounter, Tanix, called the Core 4. Guardians must dunk all 4 cores before each DPS phase. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the 2nd encounter, Spire Defense, called A Link to the Chain. This is where all Guardians must receive the Enlighten buff at the same time. And the Last Wish challenge this week is the 3rd encounter, Morgoth, called Forever Fight. Players must not kill the small ogres during the encounter. Your Pinnacle raid will be the Vow of the Disciple over on the Throne World, which means all challenges will be available for each encounter. These are the 1st encounter, Acquisition, called Swift Destruction, where Guardians must kill all champions within a few seconds of each other on all rounds. The 2nd encounter, the Caretaker, called Base Information, where runners cannot pick up more than 1 stack of knowledge on each run. The 3rd encounter, the Upender, called Defenses Down. This is where each player cannot kill more than 1 taken knight in total. The 4th encounter, Rulk, called Looping Catalyst. This is where Guardians must not lose the Leeching Force before the damage phase. Also, with the Vow of the Disciple being the featured raid, this does mean that you can farm the final boss for a chance at the exotic Pulse Rifle, Collective Obligation. And the Pinnacle dungeon for this week will be the Pit of Heresy over on the Moon. Next up, challenges. So for week 5 we have Still Standing. Complete week 5 of the We Stand Unbroken quest for Challenge XP+. Legendary Liberator. Complete a Defiant Battlegrounds on Legend for Challenge XP+. Favoured Warrior, earn 10 Favours of Justice, 10 Grace, and 10 Zeal during Season of Defiance activities. Bonus progress awarded for favours earned during the activity on Legend difficulty. 4. Challenge XP. Friendly Neighbourhood Guardian. Complete a weekly mission from Lightfall on Hero difficulty or higher. 4. Challenge XP+. Unravelling the Sun. Defeat 50 Guardians in Crucible. Bonus progress is granted for opponents defeated with Strand, Solar, and Void ability final blows. 4. Challenge XP++ and Bright Dust. Dredging up Victory. Complete Gambit matches. Earn bonus progress for wins. 4. Challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Adversaries of Humanity. Defeat 5 Taken and 5 Vex bosses in Vanguard playlists or strikes. 4. Challenge XP++ and Bright Dust. And Righteous Blade. Acquire the Eclipse Distaff Glaive for Challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. And speaking of Bright Dust, we have our 5th Eververse of the season for the week of March 28th, 2023. Available this week for Bright Dust, we have the Right This Way rare emote for 400 Bright Dust, the Credence weapon ornament for the Trust hand cannon for 700 Bright Dust, the Heartbreaking Entrance legendary transmat effect for 450 Bright Dust, the Biolume legendary shader for 300 Bright Dust, the Jungle Viper legendary shader for 300 Bright Dust, the Disciples Judgment exotic emote for 3250 Bright Dust, the Limitless Subversion Cloak ornament for the Hunters, the Cognate Beat Mark ornament for the Titans, and the Technologic Bond ornament for the Warlocks, each for 1200 Bright Dust. The Celestial Shell exotic Ghost Shell for 2850 Bright Dust, the All-Terrain Explorer exotic Sparrow for 2500 Bright Dust, the Callisto Lancer exotic ship for 2000 Bright Dust, the Karasan Su exotic weapon ornament for the exotic scout rifle, the Jade Rabbit, for 1250 Bright Dust, and finally the Riven Projection legendary Ghost Projection for 1500 Bright Dust.
Hello!
As a reminder, your daily loss sector will show you a flag outside, which will give you details of threats, shields, champions and exotic armor you will find inside. But if you're new to the game or you're using an alternate character and can't find the flag outside, you will have to run through the lost sector normally to have it show up on your map as a legend/master, which you can either do solo or with a fire team, but you will only be able to earn a chance at the exotic drop when completing solo. Tuesday, March 28th will be Aphelios Rest on the Dreaming City for exotic chests, Stasis Threat, Solar and Strand Surges with Void Elemental Shields, Overcharge Shotgun with Unstoppable and Overload Champions. Wednesday, March 29th will be the Chamber of Starlight on the Dreaming City for exotic helmets, Solar Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void and Solar Elemental Shields, Overcharged Sword with Unstoppable and Overload Champions. Thursday, March 30th will be Perdition on Europa for exotic boots, Arc Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void and Arc Elemental Shields, Overcharged Fusion Rifle with Barrier and Overload Champions. Friday, March 31st will be Bunker E15 on Europa for exotic gauntlets, Void Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void Elemental Shields, Overcharged Grenade Launcher with Barrier and Overload Champions. Saturday, April 1st will be the Conflux on Nessus for exotic chests, Solar Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void Elemental Shields, Overcharged Trace Rifles with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Sunday, April 2nd will be the Thrillerdrome on Neptune for exotic helmets, Void Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void and Arc Elemental Shields, Overcharged Grenade Launcher with Barrier and Overload Champions. And finally, back round to Monday, April 3rd will be the Hydroponics Delta on Neptune for exotic boots, Void Threat, Solar and Strand Surges with no Elemental Shields, Overcharged Rocket Launchers with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions.
Lead the way.
Our 5th featured Nightfall will see us face off against Belmont in the Glassway over on Europa, where you have a chance to get a Pinnacle engram if you complete the Nightfall with a score of 200k or more. This Nightfall will require you to own the Beyond Light expansion to play. You will be able to earn high-end gear for your characters, including the Nightfall featured weapon, exotic gear, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, and ascendant shards. The higher the Nightfall difficulty, the more common the drop will be, with the featured weapon and exotic gear being uncommon at hero difficulty to being common with ascendant shards in Grandmasters. And as a reminder, the Grandmaster Nightfall difficulty will return on April 11th. Legend and lower Nightfalls will have 7 barrier and 8 overload champions, with 3 solar, 5 void and 12 arc shields. Masters will have 12 barrier and 14 overload, with 3 solar and 8 arc shields. Your Nightfall modifiers are Hero difficulty, maximum effective level 1765, matchmaking is available, enemies have extra shields, Champions foe, you will face barrier and overload champions. You can either use intrinsic exotics, use a subclass debuff, or unlock anti-champion mods from the seasonal artifact. Scorched Earth, enemies throw grenades significantly more often. Void elemental threat, 25% increase to void incoming damage. Overcharged weapons, weapons overcharged from the seasonal artifact are active in this activity. Kinetic weapons do increased damage when your subclass element matches an active surge. An elemental surge, 25% bonus to outgoing elemental damage. Strand surge, 25% bonus to outgoing strand damage. Overcharged weapon, 25% bonus damage to a specific weapon. Galvanized, combatants have more health and are more difficult to stun. Legend, maximum effective level 1815, includes all previous modifiers. No matchmaking available. Equipment locked, you will be unable to change equipment once the mission starts. Master, maximum effective level 1820, includes all previous modifiers. Champions mob, this difficulty adds more champion enemies. And togetherness, base health regen is reduced. If near another player, health regen is increased. To combat champions this season, you do have access to subclass counters, as well as a choice of intrinsic anti-champion artifact mods, which are Anti-Barrier Pulse and Anti-Barrier Sidearm, Overload Bow, Overload Submachine Gun and Auto Rifle, and a Medieval Champion, where glaives fire projectiles that stun unstoppable champions, swords stun overload champions on consecutive hits. You also have exotic weapons and armor that can help with intrinsic mods as well. For anti-barrier, the Kinetic Bow Wishender, the Kinetic Linear Fusion Rifle Arbalest, the Kinetic Pulse Rifle Revision 0, the Solar Energy Hand Cannon Eriana's Vow, the Solar Heavy Sword The Lament, and the Titan Exotic Gauntlet Second Chance, which gain a second charge of your shield throw melee, which becomes shield piercing and stuns barrier champions. And for overload, the Void Energy Bow Le Monarch, the Arc Energy Linear Trace Rifle Divinity, the Arc Heavy Machine Gun Thunderlord, and the Warlock Exotic Boots the Secant Filaments, which when you drop an Empowering Rift, any weapon that is fired from inside that well can cause an overload champion to be stunned. Next up, Lord Shaxx brings Rift to the Featured Crucible playlist for the 5th week of the season. Rift is a 6v6 game mode that focuses heavily on objective-based gameplay and not just killing the enemy team. Instead of accruing points based on defeating enemies, players can score points by picking up a spark and dunking it into their opponent's rift, which is near the enemy spawn. A team can either win by scoring 5 points before the opposing team can, by scoring 3 points without the enemy team getting a look in, or have more points when the time runs out. The spark spawns in the centre of the map and starts to charge after 6 seconds of the round starting, and becomes visible for all players on the map. After another 12 to 13 seconds, the spark is available for players to pick up, giving both teams approximately 20 seconds to fight over the spark before either side can pick it up. For 5 seconds after a player picks up the spark, they become marked on both teams' maps. After that, they are only marked on their own team's map unless they are in view of the enemy team. The carrier can only hold on to the spark for 1 minute and 15 seconds. After that, the spark detonates, killing the carrier and those around them before resetting. Should the carrier die in any way that isn't from the spark detonating, the spark drops at that location. If a player picks up the spark whilst in their super, they are immediately pulled out of their super. Furthermore, they will not gain more super energy whilst holding the spark, and will be unable to use their super even if it is fully charged. If a player dies, they must wait 10 seconds before they respawn, but their teammates can revive them during this time. This forces players to focus on teamwork to help push up on their enemies, but can also leave some players out of the game for an extended duration if their team can't or won't revive them.
Delightful!
And Saint 14 will be back on Friday at Reset to bring you another weekend of fun in the Trials of Osiris. As a reminder, Trials of Osiris is a 3v3 PvP high stakes variant of Elimination. Only available from Friday Reset until Tuesday Weekly Reset, Trials gives every player the chance to show off their PvP skills to obtain some of Destiny's most sought after weapons and armour. Players that compete in Trials of Osiris will have all of their games tracked through a passage card, a ticket purchased from Saint 14 in the lower hangar of the tower. Winning rounds and matches in Trials will grant exclusive weapons, armour, Pinnacle gear, Masterwork materials, and even Adept gear for the most skilled players who can reach the Lighthouse with a flawless ticket of 7 games won and no losses. 5 round wins will bag you that match for your passage card. By competing in trials, you do have a chance to pick up 2 Pinnacle engrams from playing each week, one from 50 round wins and the other from winning 7 games. These do not have to be done all in one go, but you do have to complete them before the weekly reset. And to give you even more incentive to play trials this upcoming weekend, there will be double XP available in the trials playlist. So if you want to fast track in boosting those ranks to get your hands on that hot new submachine gun, the Immortal, or reprise shotgun, the Astral Horizon, then this will be a good start.
That is amazing.
Before we go, if you have enjoyed this content and found it most informative, then please hit that subscribe button and check out our show over at twotitansandhunter.com. We would be greatly appreciative. And that's it for the 5th week of Season of Defiance. Happy hunting, Guardians. Allons-y!
Guardian down.